Hello, everybody. Welcome back to 3D Dad and Daughter Discussions. Woo! Round of applause. Yay. We're back with episode 5. Today we're going to be talking about this election this year for 2024. And it's something that we need to talk about. We need to talk about, and we need to talk about over and over again.
Mhm.
That just, yeah, I don't know. Let's just jump right in. I mean, we're in a trying time right now. We have been in trying times really for a while, but yeah, I'm not trying to see Trump get back in office, but
Mhm.
it seems like a
Mhm.
lot of people are still on this train of, well, I don't want to vote for either one. And
Let
it's
let's
just,
get into that. And then when you
yes.
say a lot of people, tell me where you're engaging these people who are adamant about not voting for either one. Because I want to hear your experience more than mine. My vote is baked into the cake. Okay,
Hmm.
I'm a middle-aged man who has voted in every election since you were a child. I'm already factored in, and I matter, but not as much as you and your peers matter. I
Hmm.
told you before, Trump would not have gotten voted out of office were it not for your peers turning out and
Hmm.
voting in Atlanta, Philadelphia, Detroit, all places that I've lived.
Mhm.
And that made me feel a great sense of pride in ownership of the victory because my cities kicked his fat ass out of office. And no disrespect to fat people or whatever. I battle the bulge and the scale myself, but he is particularly onerous in his fat because he has the nerve to talk about other people with his fucking
You
jumbo
know,
size suits and shit.
I
You know what I
just
mean? That
don't.
that is a dumpy motherfucker to be as arrogant as he is. Anyway, I digress because I would vote for the human beatbox for president over him, and he was very fat. May he rest in peace. Anyway,
Yes.
so let's talk about your people, and then I don't want to vote for either one. Let's hear about that.
Well, it's really just a matter of just seeing what I see floating around on social media, honestly. Just to be perfectly honest, I haven't been in a room personally with anybody that's like, I'm not voting for either one,
Hmm.
thankfully. But I just seeing it or hearing it, and the fact that it's a public and broad platform across the world to
Hmm.
see, it's influential. And there's a lot of people that don't really know how to think for themselves. So there's a lot of bandwagoners, and it's concerning to me. What is this message that we're allowing to be put out there that voting is not important? Really, honestly, or making a decision is not important. I feel like we just have to suck it up and just choose, regardless of what, instead of looking at the bits and pieces of what may affect us in a way that we don't really like. I think we need to look at the bigger overall picture. You know what I mean? Like,
Of course, you are right about that, but let me dig uh, underneath what you just said. You mentioned the fact that nobody has been in a room with you and expressed that sentiment, which
mm-hmm.
is an utterly foolish and ridiculous position. I'm a loving, kind, and caring person, but if you say some stupid shit, I'm going to tell you that. I'm not going to condemn you as a human, but I want you to purge that stupid shit out of your head. And
Mm-hmm.
if you happen to check this segment out, and you are a person who thinks, well, I'm not, either one of them, and I'm not going to vote because either one of them. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that shit is stupid. It
Mm-hmm.
bears no resemblance to a rational response for an engaged and informed citizen. This shit matters. Okay. And I will share this with you. You are not agreeing to go to bed and have sex with Donald Trump or Joe Biden. If you wanted to pass on both of those, I understand that. You're like, okay, I'm not
Yeah.
going to do that with either, but that's not what this is. You are
Mm-hmm.
hiring somebody for a goddamn job. If a tree, we had a bad storm down here a couple weeks ago and a tree fell on the house. If a tree falls on your house, you have to hire somebody to come and get that job and clean your shit up, don't you? So you
Mm-hmm.
pick the best person to get that. That's all this is. You're hiring
Mm-hmm.
somebody for a job. That's it.
Exactly.
But I'm gonna dig in
Exactly.
further. You said you weren't in the room with those people, but you
Mm-hmm.
see the engagement online. What if I were to suggest to you that there are more fake people in cyberspace than real people in cyberspace?
That That I believe. I
Such
mean,
that this
I think that's
engagement
been a
that you're
thing for a while
seeing,
now.
these sentiments that you're seeing expressed, could be coming from one, let me not be insulting to anybody's body type or country they're from or what basement they may or may not be in. This could be coming from one person who has 5,000 identities at his disposal because he is
Mhm.
backed by an enemy government of America's, which we know is a reality. So I'm glad that you said, that's why I probed you about, well, where are you hearing this? Because
Mhm.
real live black people are not that fucking stupid. I know that we are
Good
played to be
point.
that stupid in
Good
public,
point.
but we are
Mhm.
not that damn stupid. If you
Mhm.
want to see some stupid ass voting patterns, you need to go see white folk. Now, that's not, I got some white folk that are cool with me and they know that, and we cool in this love, right?
Mhm.
But the
Mhm.
fact that the best we can hope for is to get 4 out of 10 white folk to vote for the candidate that we vote for, that shows you how fucked up their voting patterns are.
No,
Okay,
that's
or
right.
to the extent that they're making decisions the way that we are, meaning black people overwhelmingly vote for their true best interest, which you can count. Okay,
Mhm.
it's about money, it's about access, it's about, personal liberties, and we vote along those lines.
Yep.
White folks are the ones who vote emotionally. They have an emotional attachment to
Mm.
Donald Trump. They are the ones
Yeah,
that
it
vote
does seem that
emotionally.
way.
Because
America.
if you are a broke, that's right, a
Mhm.
broke ass motherfucker from Armpit, Tennessee, or ass crack, Kentucky, and you can't afford to get your 3 teeth fixed because you got to pay the copay at the dentist and you can't pay for it, and you're voting for Donald Trump. What that means is you do not value things that normal people value. To that guy,
Mhm.
just white primacy is what he's voting for, just to feel good in his whiteness, because that's all he's got. That's
Mhm.
it.
He likes that superiority, that
Well,
entitlement. Mm.
what's he gonna have if he doesn't have that?
Mhm.
Imagine what that white man feels like. He is sharing a this earth and this country, and matter of fact, this region, with a black man like me, with a
Mhm.
superior education, a superior physical presentation, a superior family situation. Everything is
Mhm.
good. And there's a very good chance that your predecessors used to whoop mine at some point, and yet here I
Mhm.
am, and there you are. What the fuck does that say about you? What in the fuck does that say about you that I started there? Chattel, property, being driven to death, and somehow or another,
Yeah.
here I am, okay, magnificently situated. And you got to walk around and look at that. Well, that's got to be frustrating.
Definitely.
And I'm,
And
I'm
like,
not being empathetic towards them. I'm just saying that that's what
no,
clearly the motivations are, because it is
I
not
don't get that.
monetary. Yes,
No.
ma'am. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, dear. Go ahead.
No, it's okay, Dad. I felt like I was kind of chiming in with you there, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, because I remember you said, I think on our first episode, how, people don't really give enough credit to how far the black community has
Yeah.
genuinely come and how much we have won over
Yeah.
time. I mean, yes, we still have some ways to go. Nobody's doubting that, but to, like, you were just painting the whole picture with like how it must feel for someone like
Sure.
him to have to sit in the same room and see like, oh my gosh, like look at
That
how
motherfucker can't. He
beautiful
can't be in a room with me.
that. I
He,
know.
he
I'm
he's
just
not
saying.
he's not qualified to be in any room. Not hold on. I have gotten pulled over and arrested for riding dirty, and I was in the can. Before, I've done that a couple of times as a younger man. At that point, anybody is in that room because all y'all done fucked up. But in the rooms I'm in intentionally, no, that
Yeah,
dude cannot be in that room. And I did not, I'm sorry.
I know
I,
that.
I respect you as a colleague on this platform, but every now and again we truly go into dad and daughter form. When
Yes,
you
I
was
know, and
little, I
that's
talked over
that's
you all the
cool.
time. I'm so
That's what this
sorry.
is.
No, I don't need to talk over you, especially when I just started off by saying your vote is more important than mine. They already know my ass is gonna vote. They already know
Right.
how I'm gonna vote. They don't give a shit about
Hmm.
marketing to me, but you are the
Hmm.
one that matters. You and your friends. They got me and my friends already. Okay, because
That's
we're gonna
true.
sit around, we're gonna be damn joking and cracking jokes. They're gonna be making fun of Joe Biden and all that, but everyone they ass is gonna vote for him. All of them gonna do it. They just gotta get their rocks off and talk about how much what they don't like. But I know all of
Yes.
them, and they are all
Yes.
black men, just as magnificent as me. That they are all.
Here we
They've
go.
all done well for themselves. Okay,
Yeah.
very well for themselves, and
Mhm.
they look and feel and smell like the success that evades so many white men out here who feel like they should have that. They don't understand why. They did everything they were supposed to do, or that's their story that they did what they were supposed to do. But in the end, there was just a little bit too much room to run, and motherfuckers like me got a chance to get on the track. And even if we
Mm.
don't run great, we still run better than them. That's real.
Bottom line.
That's
Bottom
why they
line.
want to get all of our black asses off the track. They don't want to see another generation come through that's like me and my colleagues and my
Mm.
cousins or whatever. They don't want to see that
Mm.
because it is fundamental. And you know, all of these men, and you know, it is fundamentally impossible to make any of us feel bad about ourselves. I'm the only one that'll get on camera and say this shit. Okay.
Mm. Mm.
And our self-love is well earned, and the more we love
Very well
ourselves
earned.
legitimately, that is what is upsetting to them. That's why they don't even want us to give money to each other. Black women out here doing what they doing, them motherfuckers are trying to stop y'all from supporting each other's businesses through venture capital. They're
Mm.
suing y'all to stop you from giving money to each other exclusively in
Mm.
court. That's happening right now. And the sisters right here in Atlanta, matter of fact, the
Mm.
one used to look just like when you was little. Keisha Knight Pulliam is a part of that group, if I'm not mistaken,
Really?
of sisters that set aside venture capital funds to support black women in business. They have been
Mm.
sued by some, and I ought to be ashamed of myself. His name escapes me, but we will put it when you put this together. I'll give you his name. He's actually
Mhm.
from Michigan. Bless his heart. He went to Michigan State, so that explains a lot. But anyway, he is suing to stop these black women venture capitalists from having their funds be exclusively set aside for other black women. Of course, he is a darling of the Republican Party. Okay. There are, I think at last count, 13 attorneys general who are
Mhm.
taking proactive steps to make sure that DE&I and that trying to get rid of that all companies in their states are not participating in that because like, well, we might have to sue you. All of that is the politics happening right
Mhm.
now. So if you can
Mhm.
look past, Biden and this old man shuffling, and by the way, if God willing, I'd love to be 81 years old and shuffling like he's shuffling because he's getting around. He still love his
Mhm.
wife. It look like his
That's
wife
how I
still love
feel.
him.
Like,
Hey,
I don't understand why people be hating on Joe so bad. Like, you
some of it is
know,
just comedy.
yeah, yeah, this is
Yeah.
true. But I would love
Joe
to be
Biden
that.
ain't did shit to nobody black that other black folks ain't done. They want to shit on him about the
Mhm.
crime bill that passed before you was born. Punkin, let me tell you something. He couldn't have signed up for the crime bill if the Congressional Black Caucus didn't back the crime bill. So black
Mm.
folks that talking about that is like, stop it. Stop it.
Mm.
And at the time, crime was fucked up and out of control, and people in cities did want relief from crime. Don't remix the shit. But yes,
Right.
it was a fucked up policy. That happens when
Mm-hmm.
you are in governance for that many years. You're going to have failures just like you're going to have successes. It's how you
That's right.
respond that matters. Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's
But
right.
I'm going to, now that I done told you, it's bots that's saying that y'all don't want to vote and all of that. But let me, in case there are some of my young folks, not that this doesn't impact old people, but it impacts y'all more. Did you
Mm-hmm.
know that if the Republicans can take over the government, you've heard of Project 2025 by now, yes. Do you know that Project 2025 proposes to outlaw pornography,
Mm-hmm. I do.
makes it a criminal offense to produce it, to distribute it, to stream it? They'll be shut down. And I say that to say, okay, if your ass will not get out here and vote to save the country, take your young ass to the poll and vote to save your right
Pornography.
to pleasure yourself.
Yes.
I mean, but
At
that's how much
least.
in your
At the
business they
very
are
least.
in. You think about that. Think about
Yeah.
how ill your mind has to work for you to put that shit on wax, put it in writing that you are
Right.
gonna outlaw. What motherfuckers them for? They ain't
It,
did nothing to you.
it
They
just
doing
seems
their
like
own
they all
thing.
came from a world of just flat out delusion, like diluted clouds everywhere. Like I just don't. What does it have one have to do with the other? If somebody is watching
Oh, well,
pornography
the back door to that
or
though, what they really are doing is trying to fix it where they can um criminalize like gay folks. That's what they're really after with that. Because they want to
hmm,
protect themselves because nobody watches more porn than Christian right motherfuckers. And they don't love
hmm.
nothing more than black porn. Now there was a report that came out. Google released like where the searches are at. It's funny as hell. Your little brother showed it to me. Like what it shows what fantasies are most popular in different places or whatever have you.
Oh,
And
what he
down
would.
south, right down here, okay, in the Bible Belt in the old Confederacy, black porn rules. That means that all these Bible thumping redneck motherfuckers, after they done gone to church and passed the plate and they praised the Lord and talked in tongues and handled snakes or whatever they did, they going home and they watching, you know,
The
black
ebony.
this and that, all this other shit. Yeah, that's what they are doing. That's what they're doing. It's like when we
Wow.
see your job ass like glass, we know you're doing it, but Google done told on you. But the point
Hmm.
is,
Hmm.
don't let anybody anywhere near power who would even waste their time and their mind on such a foolish thing as
Yeah.
outlawing pornography, adult entertainment. That is ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
perfectly ridiculous. And young folk pay attention, man. If they're willing to do that, what the hell? What's next?
No, no,
What's next?
seriously. I mean, a lot of things on that list were like, you know, mind blowing to me. But I mean, the Department of Education being taken away, that's on there as well.
Yes.
Is that okay? Can you like, I'm not really clear on that exactly. Can you
Well,
clarify exactly like
what they
what they're,
want is here's the thing. If you abolish the Department of Education, you also abolish all the standards that come along with it, which means that now they've already successfully corrupted textbooks for years.
oh, yeah,
But if you can get rid
yeah.
of all national standards, you have the ability to erase any and all history that you don't like. Texas has
Hmm.
already pretty well done it, and some parts of Georgia. But it's funny. You see some things happen in other states that you're like, well, why isn't that happening in Georgia? And I'm gonna tell you why. Because there happen to be a number of very big, and it's not that these companies are good. Corporations have one purpose, and that is to make money. But if
Hmm.
you are a company headquartered in Georgia, specifically Atlanta, Georgia, there's
Hmm.
only so extreme you're going to be. Number one, you're in Atlanta. You have a stake in the piece of the environment in which you are doing business at home. That doesn't say you're not going to do dirt, but there's only so much dirt you're going to do.
Hmm.
So those attorneys general that wrote to all the companies in their states, they talking about Arkansas and and whatever the fuck Louisiana and all that, and they have companies. Don't get me wrong, but they ain't got Coca-Cola. They don't have Delta. They don't have UPS. They don't have Home Depot. They don't have anything like that. And let
Hmm.
me tell you something. If you're some jerk off politician in or around Atlanta or in the state of Georgia and you think that you're going to tell Coca-Cola what to do, you are going to feel like you've been fucked by an Amtrak. And whatever you
Hmm.
might be into, you probably don't want that. Because you don't mess with some of the, like, you don't tell them. You can do all your little, they'll let you snip and snip to get your little votes up because they give money to both sides. But if you
Hmm.
really think that you are going to pressure Coca-Cola, Delta Airlines, I guess not SunTrust anymore, it's a Truist or whatever,
Hmm.
Home Depot, you don't tell them what the fuck to do. Not the way that these other ones are telling these other companies. It's very different. Vote and make them steal your shit. Make them do the crime. Don't do it for them.
Right.
Because democracy is not in the voting. Democracy is in accounting.
That's
Okay,
right.
who counts it? Does it, all the votes count? That's the
Hmm.
key.
Right.
So,
Right.
I'm glad that none of your people, it's not a surprise because I know your crowd and everything, and they're, you know, well-educated folks and, mindful, what I mean?
Hmm.
And I don't think the okey doke shit will work on them. But should
Hmm.
you come across anybody talking that dumb shit, Don't make them feel bad about themselves. That's not going to help. But
Mhm.
let them know that your dad has a dog that he loves very much. He walks every day. He spends time with it. He cares about the dog's well-being and will do anything he can to help the dog. But that dog can't vote. You are a man and you have no more voice than my father's dog,
Mm.
which means that you're just going to go along whatever your master sets up for you.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's word.
That's
A
awful.
lot of
You just gonna lay there and just allow just stuff to just happen just because you don't. I'm just kind of just trying to weigh all of the reasons as to why some just just do
Mhm.
it. I do know that it's been a common thing over time for me that I've heard as far as like the limitations for some people who aren't able to vote, like convicted felons or
Mhm.
and but I've also caught wind, and don't quote me on this, that there is a way for them to be able to vote. Is there not?
There's a process. It's burdensome, it's onerous, as you might expect, but that is something that is a pretty technical area. But the answer to your question is yes, they can.
Okay.
The people in Florida who have been prosecuted and a sister in Texas who's been prosecuted, they have the right as well,
Mm,
and they are trying to send that sister back to prison. As a matter of fact, the folks on the native podland just talked about it, and I think they did a town hall somewhere in Florida, and they addressed that issue. So that is something that they have to be mindful of.
mm,
However, however, if you know somebody who is caught up in that mess, your ass definitely needs to be voting because you're voting for you and for them.
mm-hmm,
Okay. And unfortunately, a lot of us know somebody who has been ensnared in that system.
mm-hmm.
Okay. And we have even more responsibility, not just to the ancestors, but to our folks that are here right now. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I understand they are intentionally throwing roadblocks. So yeah, of course they're doing that
Yeah.
because, like I said, they are terrified. And they are terrified, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
just mean the toothless hayseeds I was talking about before. I'm not just talking about them. Okay, I'm talking about the they that set policy, that set prices, that select personnel. I'm talking about
Mm-hmm.
they that have power. They are afraid. They're afraid of the rising tide of
Mm-hmm.
black folks who are no longer afraid, who have an expectation
That's
of
right.
equality. My favorite thing about y'all's peer group, and I know y'all catch a lot of shit, but y'all don't seem to have that. Somewhere along the way, it seems like a lot of y'all just disassociated yourself from that shit that y'all were being told by your grandparents and in some case your parents. Like, you have to be twice as good to get half as much. One of y'all was like, you know what? Fuck that. No, I don't. No, I don't. I do not have to be twice as good to get half as much. Kiss my entire ass with that math. And I love that. Y'all may be entitled. You may be spoiled. I don't give a shit. Good. I'd rather you be that way than expecting somebody to fuck you over and give you a quarter of what you actually are worth. Good for
Mm-hmm.
you.
Yeah.
Some of the shit that we told y'all was bullshit. Not all of it, but a lot of it was.
Yeah.
But we told it to you because we didn't know no damn better. Okay. And that's
And
fair.
it's no rule
You
book.
know.
It's no written book on how to advise or how to, provide insight. You do what you know, you do what you can.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
things evolve over time, and eventually, somewhere down the line, like you say, somebody looks sideways, like, I don't
Like, no, I
know.
don't think
There
so.
might be a different route. There might be an
Mhm.
alternative to this,
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
agree. I agree, 100%.
So I mean, so
um,
some of the moves that my children have made, and y'all are adults now, haven't made sense to me and caused me concern and gave me great consternation. But in the end, it's like, okay, it worked out, it played out. And it's like,
mhm,
well, obviously, don't turn this election over to old motherfuckers. Don't do that. A lot of old people are not nearly as sharp as I am. A lot of old motherfuckers are out to lunch. You don't know what's going on with them. Don't leave it to them. First of
mhm,
all, we've been robbing y'all blind forever and a damn day and shit, to the extent that part of the reason why y'all can't get off financially is because policies in place where motherfuckers my age are taking all the damn resources. We're soaking it
mhm,
all up from y'all.
mhm,
That's the
mhm.
truth. All this that y'all are paying into the damn system right now, that is to support my old ass when I check out. Now I'm gonna be okay, but I'm still gonna get that check.
Right.
I'm gonna get it, and I'll get
Mhm.
mine and whatever y'all put in there too if I live long enough. Now, I'm not gonna sit there and say I'm gonna get back, but I would not vote for those policies. I'm like, no, no, go ahead and cut it. Let's be right about this thing. But it's just to
Mhm.
make the point, in case anybody out here, I'm emphasizing the younger people because if you're my age, you don't know no better. Fuck it. You
There's
are
no
with
hope
my
for
pets.
you.
You, and I'll do whatever I can for you. If you're hungry, I'll feed you. I'll give you some water. If you need me to walk you, I'll walk you. If you don't want to vote, what the fuck? I mean, you're being another man's pet. That is what you're doing.
Literally, though.
You are being
Literally.
another man's pet, and your best hope is that a good master gets you, like you
Mhm.
getting adopted and shit from the damn pound or something. When you
Right.
have a voice and you can speak for yourself.
Mhm.
That I get frustrated behind that with us because we as black men really, really ought to know better than that shit by now.
I
And all of
agree.
that fashionable pessimism bullshit is played out.
Mhm.
And you
Mhm.
hear that a lot from us, oh, ain't nothing gonna change. Nah, Obama didn't do that. Like, what did you think? It was
Right.
a magician? Fuck that. Get your
Right.
black ass in
Stuff does
and
not
vote.
happen overnight, and it takes more than just two hands. Like,
Yeah,
everybody has to have their hand in it somewhere to
yeah,
where to see actual change. Like, if you're not contributing to the problem being solved, then you are a part of the problem. So I
yeah,
think that's what a lot of
yeah.
people aren't really realizing. Like, you just sitting here
Well,
laying
if you want to sit
down.
out, look, you sit out. That is on you. It's your decision. But that is not a decision that is going to be treated with respect. I'm not going to be mean or evil to nobody. It's not in my nature, especially if
Right.
you are one of mine. But
Mhm.
you've got to know respect is earned. Love is
Mhm.
unconditional. Respect is earned. I don't care
Yeah.
how much I love you.
It's a
You
fact.
talking some dumb shit like that, it's like, okay, I can't respect that. I
Mhm.
can't respect that. You don't know your history. And worse than that,
Mhm.
you don't know where we're going. Because I know the reason why you don't want to go to the polls is because you want to be at home playing with your poll. Well, guess what? When they get rid of the porn outfit that your ass is watching all the time,
You ain't
you're
gonna
not
be
even
able
gonna be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be back to when you was a
right.
kid and
That's
shit.
it's like it's
Watch
a
them squiggly lines on cable. We be out watching we'll be for hours looking at that shit trying to get the line to hold straight for me.
cable
You're like,
99.
ooh. Well,
I
you
don't know what
know,
it was for y'all, but
I didn't even know y'all had. Well, hell,
no, they
nowadays
had it
y'all can see
during. Yep.
everything. Y'all can see
Mhm.
everything now. And with AI, God only knows
Oh yeah, it's no
what's out
telling.
there for y'all now. But I
It's no
I
telling.
digress a little bit, but you get the point.
I do.
Yeah,
Hmm.
like you've heard people say, well, this election is not between Biden and Trump. It's between Trump and the couch or whatever the fuck. And I get what they're saying, and that people just may decide to just stay home. They're not going to go out and vote for Donald Trump, but they're going to stay home. And what that means is they
So
vote for
you are
Donald
voting
Trump.
for him.
Well, because believe me, the guy from Ass Crack, Tennessee and Armpit, Kentucky, they're going to show up to vote. You can believe
Yeah.
that. Because they know
Right.
that's all they got. So they're going to be out there doing that.
So
They're
you
going to make
not
damn
voting is
sure.
basically you voting in the other
Yeah.
party's favor. That's just, I don't know. Some
And,
stuff.
and
It's a lot of dodos out here.
I need to
I
correct
just,
something because I do go to Tennessee somewhat frequently. I go to Nashville for concerts and I hang out or whatever. I'm not just fucking with y'all. Y'all's Congress has been acting up and getting on my nerves and shit lately. But Tennessee is a lovely place, although y'all do have some places that are armpit and ass crack worthy. In Kentucky, I was born right across the river from y'all. So it ain't like, oh, I'm so much better than you. I just cleaned up good over time. Okay. Y'all fucked around and
that's
started letting
right.
black people go to college, and both my parents went, and then they create, entitled, arrogant motherfuckers like me to be out here later on upsetting you. But that's just the game. I'm I, I- I'm te- I'm I'm teasing a little bit, but you dig what I'm saying. So
I do. I do dig what you're
mhm.
saying. I just really just hope that I just really want this to touch, like you said, especially my peer group, because I feel like we are the ones that really need to be getting out there to the polls and making sure that we're casting a vote.
Mhm.
And I don't know how long that process is, but I really feel like that could break barriers, a lot of barriers, if more were educated on that, as far as like feeling like they're limited and aren't able to participate in the voting. I just think that could maybe contribute to having a lot more show up, who feel like they can't show up, but they really can. So,
Well, I'll say this, and everybody whose this message reaches you,
mm,
if Donald Trump gets in office, he's not going to leave. He is never going to relinquish that office while he is still drawing breath. He will not. Period.
mm,
What? Because the minute he is not in office, he is at risk of all variety of legal troubles that the Supreme Court can't fix for him, because he's got state law problems that are hovering over his ass as well. And it doesn't seem
mm,
like a big deal to people, but that stuff matters. It matters. As long as he's in office, he's protected. He's not running for president. He's running from jail. He's running from, creditors. He needs the protection of the presidency. Why would he give that up? Especially as some 80-something-year-old man, he's not going to give that up. They're gonna come up with any kind of reason. Matter of fact, they don't even need a reason. They're telling your ass right now by publishing that Project 2025, which is bugged out. I'm like, why would they just give away the game like that?
yeah,
But also shows you that they're not as strong as they're pretending. They need to drum up support. Because why would you
mhm.
publish, for the whole world to see what your plans are going to be, unless you were
Right.
completely confident that your opponents weren't going to do shit about it, or
Mhm.
you needed to rally up your own side and let them know what you're going to do, so maybe they will come out. It's like, motherfucker, I see through your job ass like glass. You want a job. It's hard
Well,
out here. You want a
I'm
good
glad you
job.
can, and that's why I have you because I'm like, what? What are they? I don't know. I
That's
just
my job.
yes, exactly. Just keep me on
Mhm.
game with certain things, but I just yeah, the current climate with this election is interesting. And then this fool getting okay, Dad, we have to talk about your article. Um,
Oh, okay. I thought you was going to
both
get
of
out of this
them actually.
about.
Well, you brought
Okay.
a few of them over the past week. It seems like, or the past few days.
Hmm.
But in regards to Donald Trump getting shot at, and number one, I have to say it cracks me up how I feel like we think the exact same thoughts sometimes. Because I literally had thought like, it's why in the world did it miss him? As shitty as he is.
Hmm.
But with the presidents that are actually doing something good, or
Hmm.
trying to do something positive, they don't miss. They get hit.
Hmm.
Over the year, like you said, John F. Kennedy, his brother, and Abraham Lincoln. I mean,
Hmm.
he did his part to
Hmm.
helping
Hmm.
the slaves
Sure he
get,
did. He
but
played a role, of
he
course, of
played a role,
course.
but he got shot and they did not miss. And it's just, that was a thought that came to mind for me as well. But I never once considered it potentially being like a hoax. And that's
Hmm.
kind of what I was. Now, tell me if I didn't gather that right from your
No, no, no,
second
no.
piece.
You're on point. And
Yeah.
here's my deal. I published that, as soon as it happened, because I wanted to jump out there and just get my thoughts
Yeah.
while they were fresh. Um,
Hmm.
I do not believe it was a hoax. I believe it was an attempt. But here's the thing.
Okay.
And mark this down. That motherfucker did not get shot. He did not get shot.
He
Okay,
got
because if you pay
grazed.
close attention, no, he didn't get great. I believe firmly, based on what I saw. Now, this is because you got to block out what you hear from the media, motherfucker. Sometimes, if a bullet grazed you enough to draw blood like that, your reaction is going to be a hell of a lot more than what he did, because bullets hurts. Okay, even a
Hmm.
grazing hurts. It would have been a very different reaction, number one. But number two, the glass that broke, the injury that he sustained is a lot more feasible as glass. But I'm going to tell you what to watch to see if I'm right or wrong. Okay. Now, as we are recording this, they're in the middle of the Republican convention, right? And this
Hmm.
fool is going around with this big ass goddamn Kotex maxi pad on his ear and shit, like the biggest white bandit you
Yeah.
ever saw in your life. It literally looked like a maxi pad. And here's
Um,
what's gonna happen, because he's such a drama queen. He wants to remind everybody that he got shot. Here's the deal. he's going to take that thing off eventually. Okay, he's going to
Yeah.
have to take that thing off, and all the cameras on earth are going to be on that ear. If a
Mm.
dude's ear got shot to the extent that he's got to walk around with the goddamn that big ass ear muff thing, look like air traffic controller thing on his ear, okay, the
Mhm.
ear is going to be disfigured in some way. But if it got a shot of glass to go through it, it's just going to look just normal, like anybody else
Mhm.
that had a garden variety injury. Now I know it was scary to be up there and some asshole is shooting a gun. I get that, okay, but at the same time, a lion motherfucker like him is pre-programmed to absolutely milk this and exaggerate this and ride
Okay.
this to the ends of the
Yeah,
earth.
for sure. For
Okay,
sure.
if the dude shot in there, yes, you so somebody lost their life in there, whatever.
Yeah.
So obviously the
Somebody
dude was
did.
shooting, obviously. Okay, so that's not
Mhm.
a hoax. But Trump
Mhm.
as getting shot is bullshit.
Because
I'm
that's what I was
calling
gonna say.
bullshit as loud as I can. And look, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That's cool. But I
Mhm.
don't think that motherfucker caught a bullet. I don't think
Mhm.
he caught a bullet at all. Because
Okay.
if you catch concrete that
I
splattered when
kind
a
of want to
bullet hits
watch it
something,
again, like
you're
right
hurt.
now.
And what? Go and take a look at it. I mean,
I just
this
want
was
to, because I
funny.
did see it. I
And,
did
and
see, I saw it, the video, and I thought, I don't know, because he did kind of like do a little drop. You couldn't see him out of the frame anymore. And then he got up
I'm laughing because
and
I
all
made the
this more.
suggestion that because Donald Trump has a strong affection for wrestling, I'm like, you know what?
That's right, you
I
did
would not put
mention.
it past that fool to have like, okay, wrestling, go down here and, and create some blood and shit, cut my ear or something like, fools do so they can get up and show blood to the crowd. That was ridiculous. I will say that
Yeah.
because that would have suggested a staging of these events, which was not the case. Two people
No,
died, the shooter and the
exactly.
guy who was shooting his family. And
Mm,
hey, cuz you took your family to a Trump rally and you lost your life.
mm.
I
Bottom line.
I refuse to perpetrate like I'm gonna cry for you. I'm not doing that. Okay. Yeah, it shouldn't have happened. Political
Mm,
violence is bad for everybody. Just like I'm glad Trump didn't die, even though I made the point that it's weird that all the assholes in history survived. Reagan,
mhm,
Trump, and that fucking George Wallace and shit, who most people don't even remember anymore. Good, memory hold that motherfucker. We'll talk about him later. But they all
mm,
survived. Worst men in the world. And yes, I include Ronald Reagan in that. That's a whole
mm,
Jesus Christ. Well, we'll get into that
mm,
sometime. He is largely responsible for all of this shit that we're dealing with now, all these years later. And I was a little boy when he was the president. And I was a
mm,
little kid and I knew he wasn't shit. I could just smell it on him. But
mm.
anyway, subject for
Yeah,
another day.
and that's all right. I mean, it still falls in line. I did try watching it, but they weren't showing like the video like they were before. They were giving a bunch of snippets and stuff. But yeah, that was a part of, because that's what I was gathering. The word hoax came to mind, but I was just like, but no, somebody died. So maybe that's not what he's saying,
Mhm.
but just almost as if this isn't really as, you know, serious as what, I don't know, it's being led on to be. But thank you for clarifying
You're
for that.
welcome.
But yeah, even with that, and you also wrote two other pieces surrounding, like we were talking about earlier with Biden, and
Oh
just,
yeah.
making sure that we're, man, just, I do think that it's important for us to really just look back, at just the overall, I guess, performance in his tenure as being in the role that he's been as vice president and as president. I mean, we all loved him as the vice president when he was, for Obama.
Hmm.
And, even with his tenure now, even with anything else, like you also were saying, the fact that he chose to have a black woman as his number two, his right hand, that I think speaks volumes as well.
Hmm.
Although, yeah, I just sometimes, because I hear a lot about people saying, well, what is Kamala doing right now? Or as the vice president, has she really done anything since she's been, in this position? And and I'll admit I have been like, well, yeah, I haven't really seen her on much, but I honestly don't watch politics or I don't follow politics like that. And
Yes,
I
ma'am.
don't think it's fair to say that she's doing nothing
Okay.
whatsoever. But
I'll
that
clear this
is
up for
something that
you.
I do want to
Okay.
have, yeah,
Let
addressed.
let's address this right here and right now. Everybody
Hmm.
who asks you what she done did, what she done did, ask them, okay, I want you to tell me one thing that the last two vice presidents have done. Give
Hmm.
it to me. And they're going to freeze because their
Hmm.
ass is not going to know. Because
Hmm.
the vice president is not really responsible for doing anything except for help to carry the message, to use their relationships to assist them, but they are the backup quarterback. Okay, my last year broke my heart. My last year playing high school football was no longer the starter. I was the backup. I was on the team and I mattered, but I didn't have stats. You know why? Because I wasn't on the field. Okay, your job as the backup is not to gain yards or to throw touchdowns. Your job is to be there if you are needed. Be there if you're
Hmm.
needed. You may confer. The starter comes off. Y'all are talking about what the hell is going on. Okay, what did you see? And sometimes they just need to vent to somebody that's not a coach or whatever have you. But that's your
Yeah.
job. And I knew
Yeah.
that job good because I had started for 2 years before that. Okay,
Hmm.
so understand the point isn't what has she done? Well, motherfucker, what did Dan Quell do? Do you even know who Dan Quell was? I didn't think
Hmm.
so. Okay.
Hmm.
I didn't think so. Okay. You don't even know.
Hmm.
What did George H.W. Bush do when he was Ronald Reagan's vice president? You don't know. You
Hmm.
don't know. What did Walter
Hmm.
Mondale do when he was Jimmy Carter's vice president? You don't know. Because you're not supposed to know. Now, Dick Cheney, that motherfucker did a lot, and nobody knows until after the fact. He basically ran the shit
Sad.
instead of W. I mean, he rewrote the vice presidency, just gave himself all kinds of powers. Like, okay, all y'all motherfuckers report. He was like somebody off of Game of Thrones and shit, where he's like, okay, I'm actually
What?
the one in charge and shit or whatever. W can sit up here and, paint pics of his feet, or maybe that's what he started learning that. I don't know. But that is the only vice president that really did something because
Mm.
he really authored the damn Iraq war.
Mm.
Straight up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all of them asking that is bullshit. They asking it
Just
because they
another
heard it.
reason.
They heard it. They heard it on TV. They heard it on TV. Somebody told them she wasn't doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And they haven't asked themselves, well, what does a vice president really do? They do what a
Mm-hmm.
backup quarterback does. That's what they do.
Yeah. I just
Yeah.
think it's trash, just overall. Again, undermining a black woman in
Hmm.
a high position. And I just think it's unfortunate, that that's even a picture that's being painted. I'll never forget just how much I just was so in awe when she had her debate with Pence. I just really loved how she handled herself and handled him.
Hmm.
And just the day that she was sworn in, like that
Hmm.
was a moment in history. You have never seen that before.
Hmm.
And I just would hope that people would just wake up and just understand that it's the new day. It can't keep coming. It can't keep moving forward. You just have to be a part of it to make that happen. Don't believe whatever foolishness, like you said, is being out there as far as her not doing anything because you're not seeing it. Because that's A, not factual, but B, like you said, nobody knows what the vice president has done. That's something that I did not think about, honestly, Dad. But
That's my job.
that's
That's
your
the point
job.
of having the intergenerational conversations. The old
Yes,
motherfuckers do have some
exactly.
use. We
But it's sad.
we might not be as useful in other areas, but we still ought to have some insight, and that's real. Because you can see when a snow job is going down, like, okay, these criticisms of her are bullshit. When she
Yeah.
first came out with all this Camera the Cop shit, that was some made up monkey
Yeah.
shit.com. She did not delight in prosecuting black people for weed crimes. It was a bunch of dumb shit. And I'm gonna tell you right now,
Mhm.
the big one mistake that she made, but it wasn't just her because all of the politicians do it. Serious politicians need to stop going on that fucking Breakfast Club show. They need to stop
I
doing that.
do. I
Nothing
do
good ever
agree with
happens.
that. I
That
do agree
nothing
with that.
good ever happens when you go on that show because, and look, those cats do what they do. But at bottom, that his name is Leonard. I'm not calling nobody no fucking god. So get the fuck out of here. That is an unserious person. And the other dude on the show is an unserious person when it comes to politics. But white folks love to amplify uninformed or underinformed black voices. I'm not going to call them uninformed because that's overshooting the point. But they are underinformed in comparison to a lot of other brothers that are out here who they would never bother talking to. It's
Mm-hmm.
just like they just don't want a certain kind of a authoritative black voice speaking on these issues. So you'll rather talk to somebody who tomorrow he'll be talking about some crazy wild off the wall shit and sniffing some woman's chair when she gets up off the chair, just being fucking simple. And look, that's his right to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Acting a fool is very profitable for a black man in America. If you're willing to act a fool or act
That
like you're
is
mentally
true.
ill or whatever, there'll be an audience ready made for you
It's
there.
sad. It's
But
really sad.
if you're a serious black man, it's like, you're gonna get the shoulder, and that's okay. Serious black men understand that, okay. But at the same time, it's tough to hear that kind of stuff because that's where a lot of this negative shit about her came from when she went on that show. Joe
Mm-hmm.
Biden got all that brush black from the black community when he went on that show. He was trying to
Mm-hmm.
be funny. He actually was right, and saying, okay, yeah, if your ass, like, if you're going to vote for Trump over me, you ain't black. Well, you can say he didn't have the right to say it, but fuck it, I got his point. And if you had
Mm-hmm.
any sense, you get his point too.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if you're a black person, you are compelled to vote for Donald Trump. I don't wish no harm on you. I wouldn't do anything to harm you, but you need to stay out of my fucking space because something
No.
is wrong with your ass. Something wrong with
Agreed.
you, you
Agreed.
know. And if white folks would gang up on you to hurt you, I'd have your back because that's how I get down. It's because of me, not because of you.
Mm.
Okay.
That's a principle thing. Yeah.
It's a principle thing. If
Mm-hmm.
Candace Owens was out here right now getting smacked about some white dude or whatever, I'd be on their ass like white on rice or stink on shit. And I have zero fucking regard for her. She's earned that. She wants me to have a hostile feeling towards her. She makes her money by men like me having a distaste for her. At least she
Mm-hmm.
did make her money off of that. Then the
Mm-hmm.
white folk got through with her ass, and then she started trying to come over here and sniffing up and getting in good with black folk and going on
Mm-hmm.
black platforms and shit. And that's
I
their
saw
decision.
that.
That's their
Mm-hmm.
decision, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, you know what? Like I said, I'm not gonna argue with her. She's the dog snarling and barking at me on the leash of my neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my neighbor is the one holding the leash. I'm not arguing with her ass or any of them
Mm-hmm.
other motherfuckers. Clarence Thomas is different. He's in office. He can hurt me. I'll attack him directly. Byron Donald is in Congress. He can hurt me directly. I'll get after him. Tim Scott, he's in the Senate. I'll attack him directly over shit that he has done specifically politically. I'm not calling no black man no names and shit for the entertainment of the world. I'm not doing that. Even if I feel like that and I had a few drinks in here and I start going off, that's one thing. But to publicly say that, that's off brand for me because I don't think that shit is constructive. They know that we think that about them and they know that we're right.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean it profits us to propagate that further because all that does is takes a little bit of the steam out of it when it comes time to deal with who really has the power. Okay. The ones bringing these lawsuits and the one these attorneys general from these 13 states. Make sure we list them when you
Okay.
put this out. We're gonna list their asses by name, party, and state. Well, the party is all Republican. We know that.
Okay.
Because that's who our enemy is. Fuck arguing with Candace Owens and shit. She ain't running shit but her fucking mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And I done said for a long time ago, whatever. I seen her type of many times, and it's too bad because she did not get love from the black community when she needed, when she was coming through, and she's bitter behind that shit. Okay, because
Mm-hmm.
our mind is so fucked up about complexion that a lot of times our sisters who are brown don't get seen until their bodies start to bloom. And then here come everybody want to get on. But, the cute and all that good shit that you saw in the light-skinned girls, you didn't get that. And see, that makes people bitter. They don't even understand why they hate they folks so much. But I know why they do. It's the same thing with
Mm-hmm.
Clarence Thomas. he was easy pickings for conservatives because he got fucked with so bad for looking like he looks. He's not an attractive man. That's an objective statement. He's in no way there's and a woman has never looked at Clarence Thomas and thought, ooh, he can get it. That has never happened. That has not been his experience. I know that was some old shit, but it hasn't. And I can say that and laugh about that, but that's a tough experience to have. Okay, especially when it's added with like racial hate. You call names about being black and all that. Well, that shit happened to him coming up. And so it does not excuse his conduct, but it does help us understand. So therefore, give him the business, hold him accountable and shit, but all that name calling shit, we should probably chill, because that's just not doing nothing but we getting our rocks off, you know what I mean? And it's not doing anything. But I done gone off into that's future topics. I needed to land a plane.
Yes. Well, not. This is really good. You've answered all of my questions. I mean, you're like the encyclopedia talking for me. You want me? Yeah, no, I mean, especially with these topics, I just feel like, okay, I'm just gonna ask Dad, because the way you know how to break it down and everything, it just makes so much more sense. Look, guys, this was to really get the message out there that we need to take this all elections seriously, but this is the big one, 2024, November. What's the exact date?
November the 5th.
November 5th is the voting day. Please make sure that you are registered to vote. Do what you need to do.
Early vote, y'all, makes it easier. Early
vote is awesome.
Especially down here. They done fucked up early voting, but do your thing. Don't stand on 9-hour line if you can avoid it.
Yeah. Early voting is always a piece of cake. I appreciate it, but that's the main date. So either one that works best for you and your schedule, just make it happen, make it work so that we don't have to see Orange Bunny in the office anymore. So, okay. Do you have any parting words, Dad?
No, ma'am. I think I've said quite enough, or whatever it might be. So
yes,
I've enjoyed it. Thank you, Pumpkin. Love you.
You're welcome. I love you. Thank you. Yes, you've given us all a great earful. But yes, guys, like all the links are going to be down in the description box below of the articles that I just mentioned. They're great reads. They're not, too lengthy. They're just enough so that you get a good feel and a good idea of what the topic is at hand. And as well, if you want to call in and give us your thoughts and opinions, we have our Speak Pipeline link down below as well. So we're looking forward to hearing from you. Call in. We're going to let you hear what our response is live as well. So just send them in. We're happy to hear from you. But thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Stakes is high. You know them stakes is high when you're talking about